All right, today we're going to talk about angles and radians. We've been working in degree mode for a long time. Today we're going to actually go from degrees to radians and back from radians to degrees. Okay? So on problems 1 through 6, basically what you're going to do is you're going to change all of these measures from degrees to radians. So we're going to talk about that. So what I'd like you to do right now, I want you guys to build a couple of Cartesian planes. All right. So we're going to make an x-axis and a y-axis. Adam, I can hear you eating this right now. All right. So right now, I want you guys to have an x-axis and a y-axis. You're having two of them. And the first one, I want you to start with 0 degrees, go to 90 degrees, go to 180 degrees, 270, and you go all the way back around. That puts you at 360. Okay, there's your one. Quadrant 1, quadrant 2, 3, and 4. On this one, these are all measures in what? These are all measures in degrees. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to change everything from degrees to radians. Now, here's how it works. Think of a circle. This kind of helped me when I was thinking about first learning this. You think about the concept of a circle. Do you guys remember the formula for the circumference of a circle? If I said the circumference all the way around the circle, you ever seen the formula 2 times pi times r? All right? So understand, the r here represents a radius of a circle. All right? So that r represents a radius. So don't think I'm saying that's a radians. But 2 pi r is all the way what? All the way around a circle. So I want you to understand, if we're on the x-axis right here, we're at 0 pi. But if I go all the way around the circle, that's considered to be at 2 pi radians. Okay? So I want you to understand that 360 degrees is equal to 2 pi radians. Well, if 360, right here, 360 degrees is equal to 2 pi radians. All the way around the circle. What do you think 180 degrees would equal? If all the way around is 2 pi, what's 180 degrees going to be? Just pi. So 180, right here, 180 degrees equals pi number. Okay? Now, so far so good. 360 is what? 2 pi. 180 is pi. What do you think 90 degrees would be? Right here. Half a pi. That's right. Put pi over 2. So we have 0 pi, we have half a pi, we have a whole pi. What's going to be at 270 degrees? 3 pi over 2. 1.5, right? That's 1.5 pi. All right, so each one of these little sections right here, right? Each one of the sections represents basically a half a pi. Now, what we're going to do is I want you guys, and you're going to probably have this, 1 radian, everybody. 1 radian is approximately equal to 57.3 degrees. All right? If you're wondering, how did we get that? I want you to look at this right here. If 180 is equal to pi radians, and I divide both sides by pi, in your calculator, do 180 divided by pi. And what do you get? 57.29 something, right? 57.3 degrees. We'll do it right now. 180. Not making this stuff up. Divided by pi is 57.29. So understand, this right here just rounded to 57.3 degrees. Okay? back to our page right here. So this is what I want you to have on in your journal, is I want you to understand if you go from degrees to radians, this is an easy way to see where you are on the unit circle. All right? Let's go to problem number 1. So problem number 1 right here says we want to go from negative 250 degrees to radians. All you have to do, if you have the amount of degrees, is take this number and multiply it by pi over 180 degrees. And that will give you your answer in radians. So how do you do this in the calculator? Just put negative 250, there's the pi, over 180, and you can simplify this fraction to a negative 25 over 18. And then put pi next to it, and write the word radians. This is negative 25 over 18 pi radians. Now my suggestion is don't put the pi in the calculator, otherwise you're going to get an approximate value. Here's what I want you to do in the calculator. You just take negative 250, multiply it by 1 divided by 180. Or you could say, and get the math button, press enter twice. Or you could say negative 250, and you say, you know what, I'm going to divide that by 180. And you still get the same answer. Okay? If you attach the pi next to it, you're going to get an approximate value, not an exact answer. Okay? So, let's look at 870 degrees. What are we going to do? Multiply by 1. Pi over 180. So this would be 870 degrees over 180 degrees. We're going to put a pi right there. Now we want to simplify that. So in the calculator you can do 870 divided by 180. Hit the math button. Press enter twice. What does that become? 29 over 6. 29 over 6 pi radians. So basically what have we done? We've gone from what? We've gone from the measure in degrees to radians. So every single time just multiply it by pi over 180. Alright, this is also written as 29 pi over 6. Alright, just like this one right here, you can also write this as negative 25 pi over 18. Okay, these mean the exact same thing. What we're going to do next, alright, we're going to go down to the next part, which says change all these from radians to degrees. So we're going to go over to problems 8 and number 11. All right, number 8 and 11. So right now, problem number 8 is in radians. And problem number 11 is already considered to be in radians. And we want to go from radians to degrees. So whenever you're trying to go from radians to degrees, we're going to take whatever it is, and you're going to do the inverse of what you just did. It's going to be 180 over pi. Same thing we just did, except we're going to multiply things by 180 over pi. Now one of these, the pi's are going to cancel out, and one of them, the pi is not going to cancel out. So this one right here, what do you think is going to happen? Are we going to have an approximate value, or is it going to work out nice and neat? This one right here, it's going to be approximate. We're going to round it to the nearest 10. This one right here, it's going to work out nice and neat. What cancels out? This pi cancels out this pi. And 30 goes into 180. How many times? It goes into it 6 times. 13 times 6 is 78. So what I want you to understand is 13 pi over 30 radians is equal to 78 degrees. Let's say you don't like that process. All you got to do is have a calculator and in parentheses do 13. 13 divided by 30. And what do I want you to multiply it by? Just simply multiply it by 180. Notice, what did I leave out of this? I left all the pi out because I know that they're going to cancel out. What are you left with? 78. Okay? Now, some of you might do this. You might do alpha y equals, enter and do 13 pi, and go over 30, and then do parentheses and do alpha y equals. It takes a lot longer. All right? Put a pi right here. There it is. Okay. Okay, so could you do it this way where you have to type in everything? Yes, you can do it that way. What do you still get? 78. Now, what does the calculator do for you? It just, these will cancel out, and it will simplify. Okay? So, what I'm telling you is this. If you see a pi in the numerator, what do you know for sure is going to happen every single time? That pi will cancel out, so it just saves you a step. Okay? Now, this one right here, you'll notice that there is no pi in the numerator right here. Okay? So we actually have to just multiply those together exactly as they appear. So I'm going to do negative 2.56, and then I'm going to open up a parentheses and do 180 divided by pi. Close the parentheses and press enter. And you see what decimal we get? I want us to round this to the nearest 10. So that's going to be what? Negative 146.7 degrees. That's how many degrees it will be. Okay? So if you get a decimal, I want you to round it to the nearest 10. If you don't get a decimal, like this one just turned out to be what? 78 degrees. So we're going from radians to degrees. So either you're multiplying it by what? By 180 over pi or by pi over 180. If you're going from degrees to radians, multiply it by pi over 180. If you're going from radians to degrees, multiply it by 180 over pi. That's the basics.